And so I just feel like just honoring the continuity of that. You don't need to
That's good.
rebrand yourself. You need to
Good.
just honor what you've gone through, be honest with that, and then just like continue.
Hi, I'm Danielle, and welcome back to Making Space. Not just a podcast, but a place for honest, open conversations about where people have been and who they're becoming. Happy New Year! It's basically the end of January, so I'm not even sure if I can still say that, but I'm glad to be back. Even though the new year is well underway, this episode is right on time for me and hopefully for you too, because the novelty of 2026 is starting to wear off, and maybe the enthusiasm around your New Year's resolutions is fading as the busyness of life kicks in. This month, I'm chatting with my friend Doreen, who I met soon after moving to New York through church, but our friendship didn't really blossom until this past summer, and now she can't get rid of me. I feel like I'm the older sister to a lot of people in my life, which I love, but it's also been such a blessing to have someone that I can be the annoying little sister to. She's so thoughtful and truly always a FaceTime away. This episode is a bit of a throwback to past seasons because there's no video, but we recorded this on a cozy winter night at Doreen's apartment, so I hope you feel like you were a part of this couch conversation. Let's get into it. So, what is something you have learned or that you're currently learning that you wish your younger self could have known?
Something that I think I'm currently learning is to release like this idea of like timelines or like having things happen at like specific times or happen like in specific ways, because I honestly just think in doing that you set yourself up to fail by creating like arbitrary cages for yourself, like prisons that you're trapped in, like whether mental or like emotional. And then when those maybe don't come to pass in the time that you imagine, right, there's like a lot of disappointment or like fear associated with that. And I think this past year going into this year, I really learned that like you just have to release that, or like release the expectations that you have like over your life, because I really do believe that what will happen is like better than like what you could ever like plan or think, right?
Yeah.
And so once you just like release that to like God's hand and like release into his timing, it's freeing, honestly. At least for me, it's been really freeing. And something that I've been going back to, I think, is in Joel, where it's like he will redeem the years the locust ate. And so like for me into this year, like I have been holding tightly that like God is a redeemer above all else.
Yeah, that's good.
And so I don't need to feel, obviously, like I am human, right? So I'm gonna have feelings of emotions of like, oh, I feel left behind, or my peers are doing this and this isn't happening for me, or especially now, I feel like this past year, so many people that I know have gotten like engaged or married or just like excelling in their careers in ways that like I imagined when I was like younger would have been at this point in my life. And it's not exactly working out like that, like how I imagined. But I also think that when I was like, right now that there's the 2016, throwing back to 2016, right? And in 2016, I was like 18, about to be a freshman in college.
Oh.
Okay, aging myself. And I had a vision of my life, like what it would look like post grad.
Yeah.
And I know, like, in that vision, I was living in New York, which is like, I mean, I feel like that's a vision I even had, like, in high school.
Wow.
Like, that I was living in New York, and, like, here I am now. But it's not exactly how I imagined, but I feel like it's better. It's more fulfilling. And so I just, like, releasing, like, the expectations. Yeah, I think has been, like, a pruning process and, like, a lot of tears, right? But also just, like, I think building my faith and trust, and knowing that above all else, like, God's a good father and he has like gentleness towards me. So Yeah.
Yeah, no, you said a lot. And that's so good. So how did you get to this point? Obviously, it's like a continual thing. It's like a continual surrender of your timelines and your expectations. But how did you get there where you realized actually, and especially the part where you were talking about Joel and like how God is a redeemer of maybe like lost time. How did you get to that point of looking at things in this way?
I think, like, for me, I just was so. I came to a point in time where I was just, like, sick of myself. Like, I was sick of being, like, frustrated. I was sick of being, like, sad and disappointed. I feel like this past summer, especially in the middle of the summer, was, like, the worst I've been, like, mental health wise. And I was just like, if I want to go on, like, I can't go on like this.
Yeah.
And I think also, like, seeing other examples of people who maybe have been in, like, similar positions as me, or who are older than me, who are now being, like, redeemed in ways that, like, past their wildest experiences. I think for me specifically, there's this influencer, Christian influencer. I just follow her on Instagram. Her name is Sade Solomon. I don't know if you know her.
I'm not sure.
She has, like, a really big, like, singles ministry, which is, like, not the only thing that I feel like I want out of life, but I think it's the most tangible thing that, like, people, like, point to or refer to. So I remember I first followed her, like, maybe in 2021. I never went to any of her events, which I feel, like, sad saying now, but I just loved, like, her faithfulness and her story. And I saw that she just got married last year. And, like, is in a relationship that's just, like, so better than, like, what she ever expected. And even outside of that, like, in my own family, I've witnessed, like, situations that have been, redeemed without, like,
for sure.
Revealing people's personal information. But I think it's so super easy to, like, be dreadful and, like, fall into despair.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to hold on to hope.
Yeah.
But that is what, like, fuels my life, I guess. Like, being hopeful and, like, maintaining that energy or, like, that feeling of hope and knowing that, like, no matter what's happening, there's still good things waiting for me. And so, yeah, I think after that episode I had in the summer, like, I think I just had a mindset shift. I guess it was like a proverbial, like, rock bottom. So it's like, okay, if this is the
it's only up from here.
Yeah, like, it has
to get better. It has to get better.
No, like, it really does. Like, it has to get better.
Yeah.
So I kept telling myself that, like, I remember sitting in this room, like, standing in this room, weeping to God, because I was like, I feel like I'm stuck in my mind. I can't get out. I don't like to feel like this. I don't feel like I'm out of my mind. I've done, therapy and medication, and those are some things that I still am doing, but this is not working. Like, and I felt a little crazy because it's like, how is it, like, 10 years later I'm still dealing with the same stuff I struggled with at 17? And I was just like, no, like, enough is enough. Like, I am done.
Yeah.
Like, either you fix this or I take myself out. Okay. Like, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I think, like, that kind of, like, desperation, honestly, after that, like, yeah, like, it could only go up. Like,
yeah. And I think it's so interesting, like, some of the things you were saying, because I've even noticed, like, obviously we're only 2 weeks into this year, 3 weeks in, and I've already had conversations with people where they're basically talking about, like, things, like, can't be like what they were last year, like something that they were really struggling with last year. They were like, oh, I can't be in that place again, or just, like, feeling discouraged from things that happened last year, but, like, hopeful that things will change. And I think it's easy when it's a new year to just, you, like, have to, like, this is how we measure our lives, right, is in years, and, like, things that you hoped that would happen in 2025 that didn't happen, you're, like, more aware of them, maybe even more than the things that you did want to happen that happened. I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense, but I think, like, even I can look back on my year and I forget all the things that happened that maybe like in the moment I really wanted. I forget about all those things and all you remember is the thing that you didn't accomplish or maybe the thing that you didn't get or you didn't do. Which, like, one, why is that? But two, how do you start the year from a place of hope and not get bogged down or not get discouraged from what you walked through the previous year? I'm thinking about that verse too. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is the tree of life. Mm-hmm. A lot of people's hopes have been deferred, but that is also just a part of life. That is hard. And so, yeah, how do you hold both of those things while also, walking into new year and like there's all this like promise and all this, everything is brand new and shiny, kind of like, yeah. How do you hold those things?
Well, I think for me, like what I like specifically the transition to this year from last year, I was home during that. And I think for me, it was like really grounding to be like with my family and to be with people who like know me and love me innately. Yeah. So it was the first time I've been home for New Year's since, I can't remember last time, maybe like 2019.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. And so I think that also helped me like just be more reflective and like release things and also just like be remembered of the fact that like look at all the testimonies that God has done in my life. Yeah. In the life of my family. Like I'm sitting with my family member, like this person who I love, who's like a literal living testimony. And how can I not believe that like if he's done it before, he won't do it again? Yeah. But also holding the space to be honest with like what has disappointed you and like what, especially this 2025 was traumatic. I don't care what, I mean, maybe not for everyone because I'm sure there are people who had like great 2025s, but for me, like it just felt like every corner I was turning, something was coming, like there was no rest. And I think it can come to a point where it's just like, bro, like, what is happening? Yeah. But also it's like, okay, this is something that's like, there's no pain without purpose, right? Like, this is building me. But you can be honest with the fact that it's painful. Yeah. And that it hurts and that it probably will continue to hurt. And I'm not saying that like now in this year, just because the year has changed, that the pain is still not there. It definitely is, right? And I think being honest with God about like your pain, but also like the hope that you have that he will heal you of like those places where you need to be healed. Yeah. And also that like he still has like good things for you. And also I think in time since I've been in New York, I've kind of released this like image of God being like a judge, sitting judgment, which obviously, yes, that is one of his components, right? Like he will separate like the just from the unjust. But I think mainly for me now, I do see God as like a father. And so it's like if my earthly father cares for me, even like little like at the end of last year, I had like a gynecological appointment. And I was like sharing with my dad what needs to happen with my diagnosis and stuff like that. And obviously he's my dad, so he was like concerned. And a week or so after, he randomly texted me and was like, oh, like he was doing research and like I should be drinking like, raspberry tea. Like he saw that that's good for like my condition, right? So it's like even my dad who like is not, he does not be in my business, like can like care enough to like, look up things and like, not to say that like that's literally bare minimum, but to care, to care, right? How much more will God, who like knows like every hair on my head? Yeah. And so I just think there needs to just be a re-envisioning of who God is in people's lives. Yeah. And I think that will help also with like releasing like pain and hurt that's keeping you from being hopeful. And also just, I think sometimes people like mitigate their expectations or like make them like smaller because you know. And I think for me this year specifically, I was like, no, I'm going to believe that everything that like if this is a desire that I feel like God has placed in my heart, obviously you need to like, you know, measure it and see if this is truly coming from God or like this is your flesh, right? But if I feel like this is a desire that God has placed in my heart and this is something that he wants me to do and pursue, and this is like a God dream, right? Why wouldn't I believe that he doesn't have the power to complete it?
Yeah.
He's the one who put it in me.
Yeah.
His hand is not short, you know? So it's like, yeah, just walking and living in that like belief and authority that God's going to do everything he said he would do.
Yeah.
But I think it starts, yeah, with like a re-envisioning of who he is in your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's such an interesting like point. And it's funny because I was talking to some people about like their New Year's resolutions. Yeah, resolutions and goals. And all of us said something, we like said different things, but each of us said something related to like faith and like spirituality and like growing in our faith in a certain way. And I was like, yeah, I know I want to grow in my faith, but I just like haven't determined yet like what exactly that is going to look like. But now that you're saying that, just like the way you view God, I think that determines so much about your relationship with him, like how you view him. And I think our view of God changes based on circumstances. Unfortunately, it changes based on the season of life that we're in. But the reality is like, yes, if he is this constant God that has never changed, then like the same God that like I was so in love with when I got that thing that I had been praying for, like is the same God now when I'm like, God, I don't know what's going on. Like, where are you? It's still the same person, even though maybe it doesn't feel the same. And maybe that's something for me to think about related to my New Year's goals, because I think, I mean, New Year's, I remember texting you about how I was feeling. Yeah. And it was like this weird, experience for me, because it's like, okay, I'm not exactly like where, like, this is not my ideal New Year's. Like, I'm not at home with my family where, like, I have been for the past few years for New Year's, or like around people that I really know. But I feel like I am supposed to be here, but also like, God, like, what are you doing? Like, I'm confused and like sad, honestly, like kind of sad. And it's like, you don't want to start your year feeling sad, because then you're like, like what? Like this doesn't, like, oh, what's happening? This is not a good sign. Like, what? And I'm like, God, like, where are my answers quickly? Like, I need them now. Like, I need them now. It's like, I didn't get the answers I wanted. Like, really, all I got, I think, was just like God acknowledging that he sees me, right? It's just like I see you, like I see the situation you're in right now. I see what you're feeling. It's like, okay, great. I'm glad. I'm glad that the omnipresent is omnipresencing. Okay, that's crazy, amazing. But like, still answer my questions, you know. And I haven't gotten those, and so it's like, okay, this is how I'm starting my year out. But then I'm also like looking back and thinking about 2025, and realizing like, wow, like I grew so much. Yeah, and the growth that happened like allowed me to have a New Year's like this and not be like totally crashed out. I think if I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense, but like, yeah, like he healed me in so many ways that like, I think the New Year's was also a testament of his faithfulness over the past year. And I didn't see it that way at first until I really like reflected and I thought about it. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think on what you were saying about just like thinking about how we view God and remembering that he is the same in any situation. Yeah, in any situation is so good. And I think a lot of times we view a new year in like two extremes. It's like either you had a horrible like last year and this year has to be like amazing and perfect, or your last year was great and you're just like reminiscing on the past. But I don't think like I feel like sometimes we just fall in the middle, you know, like.
Yeah, I also think sometimes like I saw online like this discourse that I really agreed with, in the sense of like, oh, you know, in 2026 people want to rebrand themselves, right? Like out with the old and with the new. Yeah. But this idea that like that old is what got you right here. Like 2025 you, like the things you went through in 2025 is what, like, in obviously collaboration with God, right, is what got you to now 2026. And 2024 you is what got you to 2025. And so it's like, I think also there just needs to be, well, I'll speak for myself. I think for me in this year, like, just being more gracious towards myself. Yes, obviously, not everything I set out to do happened, or I'm still waiting on things to be answered, and I have questions, and maybe I'll never get them, right? But that does not mean I need to, like, who I am, right now. You said earlier that we're shaped by years, right? And those years are formed and created by our circumstances, which are sustained by God. So it's like, who am I, like in Romans 9, when it talks about who am I as a clay to question the potter, right? I think I just have a perspective where it's like, okay, yeah, last year was kind of crazy. We've experienced things like in our church that was insane, right? That was painful, and that we're still feeling now. But that doesn't mean that I just am now like wiping the table and like I'm gonna become a completely new person and forget everything that's no, like I'm informed by my experiences and they happen for a reason. And so I just feel like just honoring the continuity of that. Like, you don't need to rebrand yourself. That's so you need to just honor what you've gone through, be honest with that, and then just like continue on to new heights, like pursue better. But that doesn't mean that you have to now just like, forget everything or be like self-deprecating. Yeah.
New year, new me. No, it's
new year, same you.
Same you. And like obviously you have things, like everyone has areas they want to grow in. But this is also something I think about, because it's like, okay, yes, there are things you want to change, but like, what do you want to continue?
Exactly.
Like, what was good last year? Yeah. Or like what you're saying, like you learned from those experiences you went through. How are those lessons going to inform this year? Like, what do you want to carry over? I think also just helps with longevity, because if it's like everything is changing, sounds so unsustainable. Like, how am I suddenly going to become this like different person that wakes up at 5 a.m.? Like, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I also think like incremental changes and like habit stacking in that way is more sustainable than just, I'm gonna wake up on January 1st and do all these things and be like, yeah, I'm gonna, by the end of January, you're gonna quit it. You're gonna quit. You're done. Like, and also I think that identifies like the point of like intention is better than motivation. Like intention with discipline rather. Because it's like, oh, what motivates you? You can lose that. Like, I feel like motivation's fleeting, right? But like being intentional and like disciplined, like even when you don't feel like it and still doing it, whatever that thing is, I think is more sustainable than just like, I feel like motivation's like going with the wind, but I feel like discipline is kind of like still going when the wind is like pushing against you.
Yeah, and it's also like what is motivating you could be like something bad. Like it could be fear or like shame or like things that aren't healthy, and either like it's not going to last, or if it does last, like you're just going to be miserable because of the negative things that are motivating you. So I think that's a good point. So how do you go about planning for a new year? I feel like you're a planner. You told me your hair calendar for the year. So I know, like, if you already have your hairstyles planned for the whole year, you know something about planning. So how do you think about that?
So, I mean, I don't plan like, oh, this is when I'm going to do, like, I don't like plan what's going to happen, if that makes sense. Because like, I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. But I think I just plan, or I set out to be more like intentional or like set intentions rather for the year. And I do that by like reflecting, like we said earlier, like, oh, this year, in 2025, this happened. I had like 3 intentions for 2025, right? I wanted to be more disciplined. I wanted to give more grace and receive more grace. That was number 2. And then number 3, I wanted to have an open heart.
Okay.
That's literally what I wrote, which I feel like is...
They're so, like, interesting. Like, they're not... Interesting.
What do you mean?
They're not like, oh, I want to eat more vegetables, because that was kind of one of mine. Anyways, and like they're more, I don't know what the word is, holistic. Like, they're more like internal.
Yeah, like introspective.
Yeah.
I think I'm generally just a more introspective person, but not to like toot my own horn. But yeah, so those are my goals for 2025. And when I was reflecting back on those 3 intentions at the end of the year, I was like, okay, well, I feel like for some of them, I was able to be more disciplined. Like, I wanted to be more disciplined in like exercising and more disciplined in like maintaining my relationships, and in terms of like being more intentional about doing that, and more disciplined in like, being in community and like doing other, like I had like a reading goal. So just like tasks like that, right? But also I want to be disciplined in like spiritual things, because I wanted to grow in like maturity. And I feel like for some of those things, I mean, I did say that like last year was the most I've ever fasted, like my adult life, like on my own, like outside of like a corporate fast. And so I was like, okay, like, I don't know what that means, but that's like a nice to note that and be like, oh, I'm growing in that way, and like trying to be more sensitive to like the hearing of like the Holy Spirit. And then in terms of like opening my heart or like being more gracious, I mean, you were a witness to my crash out over like, my crush and having like those romantic experiences, which I feel like for me historically I've been like super closed off. I'm just generally like, I think, a more reserved person. I mean, you have famously said that when you first met me, you thought I didn't like you, which is insane. I just keep to myself. Thank you very much. And so like, yeah, just pushing myself to be more like open in regards to like romance and just like platonic relationships. Yeah. So I feel like I did do that, even though I did get burned a little bit. Yeah. And so like I was like, okay, like reflecting on this year or last year, this is everything that happened and things that I could not even begin to expect happened. But I'm grateful for all of it, because like I definitely think I grew a lot through those experiences. Yeah. So now in this year, I just want to build on that. It's like I want to continue to be disciplined in my life and extend that to like finances and keep the momentum with like movement, and continue to have like a soft heart in regards to like community and like romantic relationships, even though it can be exhausting. It's like, there's a point to it all. So I think I'm more holistic in my intentions. I don't set out outside of my hair calendar. I don't set out like, oh, by this I'm gonna get this done, because I just don't think that's like feasible for me, because that could be a little like restricting, and I could see myself entering into shame if I don't have that done by that like deadline. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like feeling like making myself feel bad. Yeah. So yeah, I think for this year I've just like building on like what I set up for last year, and then like other like, I think I said I wanted to like do more hobbies, but like kept that open ended. Like yeah. So that's where I'm at. But also just like be like receptive to how I feel like God is calling me to. So like I also think this year is like a year of like rest for me in certain areas. And so that's why I kind of transitioned like out of like certain roles that I had last year, and then just like being obedient to like what I'm being called to, even if it like makes me uncomfortable as well. So yeah, I think that's also something that I'm trying to do more so of.
Yeah. Now, I like how I guess, I don't know what you call them, goals, like your intentions. It's like a carryover. I feel like that will help it be more I don't know, sustainable because you already started these things and you're just like adding on to them. You're like stacking onto them and just like growing into all of those things. I feel like I used to not set New Year's resolutions, goals, whatever, actually, because I didn't like disappointing myself. And I would always forget what they were. And so then I rebranded. Okay, I was like, okay, it's New Year's goals. And I try to have very few because then I will remember them. But then I famously like write them down in my journal in January and then I never look at them again. But I try to remember them. Mm-hmm. And so last year I actually forgot where I wrote them. They were on my phone. But somehow, looking back on my year, I was like, I almost did all of this. Well, there was only like 3 things. It was like 3 categories of things, but I like almost did all of them. So this year, I think my goal is to like also have the 3 goals, but to have like checkpoints to like actually remember what the goals are. Mm-hmm. But then what I am really good about sticking to is I have a word for the year or like a verse, like a Bible verse. Sometimes both. Sometimes the verse and the word are connected. Sometimes I only have a verse. And so that's something I start thinking about towards the end of the previous year. So like towards December, November of last year, I start like praying about it and thinking about it. And that I think I'm way better at. That is kind of like the theme for the year. Yeah. And I'm way better at remembering that because it's like, oh, it's just like a life verse. And I'm just going to think about it. I'm going to meditate on it. Yeah. And that kind of like, I don't know, impacts the rest of like other areas of my life. Yeah. Until last year, my word was like trusting God. Mm-hmm. And that was something I had to do a lot, which I mean, it's something you always have to do. It's something you're always growing in. Mm-hmm. But it dictated like, okay, like what internship am I going to do over the summer? And now like, okay, I'm going abroad. I'm going to have to trust God through this like experience that I wasn't expecting when the country I was supposed to go to changed and like all those things. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a little bit easier for me, honestly, than like having specific goals because the goals just, oh my gosh. But I also am very age motivated, I think more so than year. So one of my goals this year is related to the fact that I'm turning age where I'm like, it's no longer appropriate for me to be not. What? It's just not appropriate for me to not be as like financially disciplined as I should be.
Okay, you're turning 27?
Yes. Thank you for revealing my age. But I'm like, at that age, it's like no longer cute to like be like, oh, like I didn't have a budget. Like it's just okay. I'm really arrogant off my. I'm okay. Anyways,
radical honesty.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, I know, and my birthday's in the middle of the year, which kind of helps to as like a checkpoint. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, by this age, I need to have some system that is like working consistently. So that's like connected to one of my goals. But
that's good.
Yeah.
I think for me, so I think my new year actually starts like after my birthday because it is towards the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of when I start like in my head, honestly, it's like, okay, it is a new year, like literally. Yeah. But also it's like, okay, the year is ending. So that's kind of, it's like a soft launch.
Oh, interesting.
Of the new year. Yeah. And so, like, I think I'm more reflective around my birthday than, like, New Year's. Just because it's, like, aging.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily have, like... I get what you're saying in terms of, like, responsibilities associated with age, right? But I also feel like sometimes that can also be, like, a trap that we set for ourselves. I'm not encouraging you to be financially irresponsible.
Hey, I'm not irresponsible. Okay, I'm just not. Anyways,
but I also think like the timing will happen when it happens. Yeah. You know, like for certain things specifically.
Yeah. But, yeah.
So I don't think it's necessarily the healthiest to be like, by this age, I expect this and this, because like. Yeah. You don't know, Yeah. And we hear stories of people who, like, have their big breaks at, like, 44. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. No, definitely things that are within my control.
Right, yeah.
Because obviously I'm a student, so,
Not for long.
Right, exactly. But it's going to end, and I'm like, I need to get it together before this student thing ends. And then I think another thing that I feel like people don't talk about enough is like accountability around your goals. Like, what has that looked like for you? Because I think it's one thing to say, like, okay, these are the things I'm going to set out to do. But then, like I said, I literally forget what my goals are. And I just, like, move on, like, be bopping through life. And it's not until someone is like, hey, like, didn't you say you were going to start doing this or that you were going to be doing this? And I'm like, oh, right.
I need to get your goals because I am super, like, accountability focused in terms of, like, I have all of my friends' goals in my phone. For 2026, like I ask everyone that like I feel like I care about, like I'm close to.
Really?
And I write it down. I feel like I might have yours. I don't know.
They're under construction right now, so it's not.
I think I might have like your name, but then like nothing underneath. But I think for me, it's like easy to be mindful of that because I'm like kind of like always thinking about that. Like it's just like a motor in the back of my head, just like running. Like, oh, I said this, I said that. Because I think also this year, I made a point to be like, I'm tired of like keeping my word to everyone else except myself. And so I'm coming to into this year with the perspective of like, I feel like I poured out, right? And it wasn't being poured into. And it's like, what would it look like for me to pour into myself first? Right? So that can be of better like service to others and to my community. Yeah. And so that's kind of like where I'm coming at my intentions for this year, like pouring in to myself so I can just be better equipped to serve like others. So I think like that's a different perspective for me. I think just due to nurture and daughters of African immigrants.
Eldest daughter syndrome.
Yeah. You're constantly just like pouring out, like, and just being available. And I think in my adult life, obviously due to lack of proximity that helped, but I definitely was forced to kind of carve out like my own space and like boundaries and I think now, especially with everything that happened last year, I was just like, I need to just like pause and like pour into myself and be poured into by other people because I feel like I wasn't experiencing that and it was causing me to grow. I mean, we were talking about this earlier offline, question mark, off the record. I was feeling like my heart was like hardening. And I did not like that. And I don't want to walk into a space and resent people. Like, I don't like feeling like that. It's not cute at all and it doesn't feel good. And so it's like, okay, I need to pause and just like exist and see what happens and like receive. Yeah. And so like that's kind of just like where I am right now.
So what does that look like accountability wise? Like how can people
help keep me accountable?
Yeah, like how can people help you keep yourself accountable? Wait, what am I saying? How can other people hold you accountable to being accountable to yourself?
I don't know, that's a really good question. I feel like because I think this is the first time I've actually verbalized like that bit that I just said. So I think I'm pretty hard set in like, being in the space of like resting and like pausing and receiving and I don't think anything is gonna make me like change unless like God like directs me otherwise. Anything's gonna make me change my mind on that. And also just like being more, I think I've done a good job in this past like year and a half and like recognizing my own voice and being like no means no, like just like walking away from situations also that aren't fruitful and that are not making you better. I think recognizing that. But I don't think I'm in a lot of those positions like currently. I feel like I should knock on wood. So yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question though. I definitely am gonna like take that back.
Something to ruminate on.
Yeah, like how can other people help keep me accountable? I guess also just like I think this might be a good one. I am not the most So I don't know how to describe it because I don't feel like I'm emotionally unavailable. Oh, the silence.
No, I'm just letting you talk.
But I could say I'm emotionally like suppressed.
I feel like you've said that before.
So I'm aware of my emotions and I can like intellectualize them. But I think it's hard for me to like verbalize them and feel them in like in the moment and like share with other people. I'm not like a super reactive person, if that makes sense. So I guess like maybe feeling comfortable enough to like share my feelings with other people. Which I feel like I've done with you. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like you're pretty good about verbalizing. Maybe you're verbalizing but not
feeling.
Yeah, feeling them.
But yeah, I mean that's something that to keep in mind. Maybe that's the way people can, or people that I'm close to can hold me accountable and like holding space or creating space for me to like feel my emotions.
Making space. Okay, sorry I had to. No, that's good. Because I don't know, I feel like when it comes to goals or like, one, maybe it's that like fake, I don't know, what's the word for it, where people are like, oh, if I tell someone, like this won't happen, or like if I
like evil eye.
Yeah, like the evil eye, like maybe it's that.
That's crazy.
But a lot of times people feel like they have to move in silence, or
I know.
Like I feel like it's either you're telling everyone your goals or you're telling like no one. Like there are people that are like, what's your resolutions? Like these are my blah blah, however long they last, I don't know. But I think even if you don't have to tell everyone, but I think you should tell someone, because it just helps to know that. Especially someone who is willing to help hold you accountable. Like you tell them yours, they'll tell you. You both tell each. Wait, I don't know. You both tell each other your goals, and you can both hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
Or like maybe like set check-ins or things like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Like I'm saying this, like this is stuff I need to do because like I'm good about saying.
Oh my God,
like,
do you want me to be your accountability partner?
You can be my accountability partner because like I'm telling you, March will roll on. I will not remember a single goal that I set.
You have to send me your goals.
Yeah, they're under construction right now, like I said. But this year things are gonna change.
Amen.
Anyways, yes, accountability very important. Do it.
Yeah, so funny.
I think going off of everything we've talked about, I love if you could share some encouragement for people who maybe are feeling disappointed coming into this year. Yeah, like what is something you want them to leave with?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. I think if you are disappointed coming into 2026, that is like the realest thing. So many crazy things happened in our world, let alone this country and our city, or if you live in New York, our city. If you don't live in New York, whatever city you live in, that were really scary and like horrifying and honestly could be desensitizing. But then I just also want you to remember like all the good things that happened to you this last year. And something that I was reading during New Year's was Psalm 126, where it says like, when God delivered us from Jerusalem, we were like those who dreamed. And I think for me, like this year, that's something that I'm like really holding on to.
Yeah.
Like what God is unable to do does not exist. Like literally. And if you believe in that and walk in that belief, the Holy Spirit will help increase your faith and increase your belief. And no matter what like happened last year, obviously you can honor that and honor like the terrible bad things that happened and like the pain that you still may carry, but also know that like there is a God that cares about that pain and wants to help you release it or transfigure it into the purpose that he has for your life. And there are good things that he has planned for you. You just have to believe it. Even if it doesn't happen this year, it's going to happen. And so, yeah, just like walk in that belief and walk in that trust, knowing that like the plans that he has for you are for good and expect to end. And that is 1,000% true, because God is not a man that he should lie, and his word never returns void. And even if you don't believe in God, that is still true. So, yeah. And also, if you know me personally and you're struggling with disappointment and like feeling like heavy and coming into 2026, please reach out to me, text me, DM me. I am here for you. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Yeah, I love Psalm 126. And I literally can remember a season where I was like going through it and I was reading that so often, and it wasn't my reality, right? But one of the verses, it says like, those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. And like I saw that come to pass in my life. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, just holding on to the word of God, and yeah, everything you said, so good. So how have things changed for you now that you've let go of like these timelines, these expectations, false expectations maybe that you placed on yourself?
I think I'm just like a freer person, honestly. Like, it really does feel like I escaped, what's that prison island in San Francisco? Is it
oh
what is it called? I want to say Azkaban, but that doesn't sound right.
That is definitely from like Aladdin or something.
Harry Potter? No. Aladdin's crazy.
Wait, no, it's something else.
What is that?
It's like Alcazar? No.
It's okay. Anyways, it does feel like I escaped prison. No, but have you seen that meme where it's like, you're like under arrest, right? But the cuffs are bigger than your wrists, so you could easily just like pull your arms through the
Alcatraz.
Alcatraz, yeah. Sorry. You could pull your arms through the cuff. This. That's how that felt. And when I realized it, I was like, "Am I okay?" Like, I literally had the key to life in God, in His Word, and just like releasing like all this crazy restrictions. And I also think like some of that is like cultural, obviously. Growing up, like we have similar backgrounds. Mm-hmm. There are expectations as like children of immigrants, specifically like West African immigrants, Nigerian, Ghanaian immigrants, like to be a certain way and look a certain way and like live life a certain way and succeed specifically. And I have to say that like that's a bad thing, but I think too much of anything is honestly bad. And yeah, it's just freeing. Yeah. Like my life is already, the plan for my life is written. I just gotta follow the plan and also just like, I don't know. Living in New York also helps, I think. Because like there's a city of 8 million people and everyone, I think I experienced like, is it Sonder?
Maybe.
Where it's like, you realize that everyone's like the main character of their own timeline. Yeah. So yeah, I think this year I'm just not winging it, doesn't sound right, because I'm not like reckless, but I think when I turned 28, like something clicked in my brain. Like, I'm so serious.
Really?
And I care less about like other people's opinions of me and like how I'm being perceived. And obviously I still struggle with that, but like it's way less than before. And yeah, I really do think on my 20th birthday, it just I actually got a text from someone on my birthday, and he was like, "Welcome to the year of auspiciousness." And obviously, you've been saying that. You've been saying that,
and he didn't know that I've been saying that.
No, he didn't know that you've been saying that. But
28 is an auspicious number. Okay.
But I said it at my birthday party. He was there, but I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, for real. And I need to walk in that. And one way to do that is just to, like, let go of, like, I guess, fear of man. Yeah. Because, like, hello. And also, if you think about it, no one is really paying attention to you. They're all too busy worried about themselves.
Yeah, very true.
So, yeah, I think something really clicked. And since then, I've just been riding that wave. We'll see how long that takes me.
No, that's good. A huge thank you to Doreen for her radical honesty throughout this episode. I hope you leave encouraged that you can move forward this year, informed by your experiences last year, but not defined by them, because God has so much more in store for you. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on our conversation. You can reach me via Instagram at the Making Space Podcast, where you should also follow for more content. Also, please leave a rating or review for the podcast, follow the show wherever you listen, and share this episode with someone who would benefit from hearing our conversation. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode of Making Space. Bye!